Scott Ryan here from the Blue Rose magazine with another one of those glorious ads that everyone is loving. I mean, sure, the podcast is getting good reviews, but it's the ads people seem to love. So head out to bluerosemag.com and pick up the latest copy of the Blue Rose magazine, which covers Twin Peaks and the world of David Lynch. Also, we have some wonderful books out there, and there was some confusion before about giving discounts if you tattoo one of our covers on you, and that I think we've cleared up. But now there's something like, if we sell a copy, I'll get a tattoo of Emily's face on me as her dressed as Lil from Firewalk with Me. Okay, fine. I guess if someone buys a book or a magazine, yeah, I'll do that. No problem. So head out to bluerosemag.com and I'll tattoo Emily as Lil on me. bluerosemag.com.
I'm Emily Marinelli, and you're listening to the Twin Peaks Tattoo Podcast. I'm a professor of psychology, a psychotherapist, a writer on 25 Years Later website, and a huge Twin Peaks fan. I'm not a tattoo artist or tattoo expert by any means, but I'm a tattoo enthusiast and wanted to make a podcast combining two things I love the most. Each episode of the Twin Peaks Tattoo Podcast interviews someone about their Twin Peaks tattoo and explores what their ink means to them. Thanks for joining. I step into the meditation center, left foot first as instructed. I bow to the priests, bow to the Buddha shrine, then turn to the center of the room and bow yet again to everyone else who are also bowing at various things. I take my seat on the cushion facing the wall. Zen practice, unlike some other Buddhist traditions, is all about form and structure. You sit facing the wall, legs crossed, back straight, eyes open, gazing downward. Within the rules and the form is a vastness of experience, an emptiness of the noisy mind. I sit in mudra position. This means I place my left palm over my right palm, hands in my lap. My thumb tips kiss each other. This meditation mudra supports connection, concentration, encourages wisdom in my meditation practice. I relax into the sit with openness and curiosity. Whatever monkey mind thoughts took over this morning, what should I wear? Do other people here like me? Am I even doing this right? Leave my body now as I sit in meditation, staring right into the cracked white wall in front of me. My mind grows quiet, my body still. Then my stomach grumbling starts. Great, I forgot to eat a power bar before coming in, but it's okay, it's all part of it. Notice the gurgle. Don't try to change or judge it. Hold strong in mudra, come back to the breath. It works. Time passes, my breathing becomes more even, hunger waxes and wanes. I hear other tummy grumbles next to me and smile. I'm not alone. I got this. And just when I think, okay, I'm doing it, I'm in the zone, I see it. What looks like a wiry black hand with fingers that I see are actually legs at least 4 inches long. The hand begins a slow descent down the white wall in front of me. Shit, okay, it can't be a tarantula because that's a cute spider pet that children in the 80s have in tanks in their bedrooms. We are in the middle of nowhere, and this spider is right out of arachnophobia, and I don't have John Goodman exterminator expertise. Okay, stay in mudra. Keep breathing. Maybe it won't go anywhere. Maybe it's calmly making a web and I'm in its way. Oh, it is still moving. Okay, wait. Yep, it's descending down the wall even faster. Okay, now it's reached the bottom of the wall in front of me and is moving onto the platform, inching closer to my cushion. Okay, now it's almost on my cushion and I'm up. I jolt up from my seat, suppressing a scream, and do a quick set of exit bows. Bow to the shrine, bow to the others, bow to myself, and even bow to the spiry hand that is terrifying me to the bone and has totally messed up my structure and form. I run out the doors and head off toward the bathroom to shake off my fear. The sun is just peeking over the trees to open the day. Later in the afternoon, I practice my walking meditation down a quiet path. A Zen priest walks past and pulls me aside. Oh no, I think I'm in trouble for leaving early and running out of the meditation hall. But no, she's gentle and kind. She says, I noticed you left this morning. I apologize and tell her, I was almost accosted by an unruly arachnid. I promise it won't happen again. Shame washes over me, splashing my face rose. She's intense in her energy, but soft in her approach. It's okay, she says. You can always ask for help. She seems like she has more to say, but stops there. Zen priests sometimes say less and mean more. I take in her words. Oh, right. I don't have to do it all by myself. Oh, right. I don't have to run away from fear and dread and hold it all alone like I've done so many times in my life. The spider crawling toward me is my suffering, my fear. It represents what scares me. I can either run away and handle it on my own, swallow it, cry, internalize the fear, or I can stay and watch it crawl over pillows and toward wherever it wants to go. I can stay and be present with the parts that are the scariest and move through the discomfort. I can be part of the community that is holding me. I can say, I'm scared of this spider. I can ask for help from other meditation retreat buddies. Or better yet, I can just move to a new pillow. When I sit in mudra, I'm holding myself, holding my palms just so, keeping my eyes open, accepting what is, seeing what's in front of me, being in community, being held by the community, remembering I'm not alone. In this month's episode of the Twin Peaks Tattoo Podcast, I talk with the incredible Laura Stewart. We discuss her spiritual connection to Twin Peaks, specifically how Buddhism, mudras, and lessons from the show inspire her. She shares about the powerful spiritual teachings of Twin Peaks: kindness, impermanence, love, protection, connecting with the darkness of pain and suffering, and accepting the world as it is, imperfect. And of course, we talk about her awesome Twin Peaks tattoos. Laura Stewart has been a fan of everything wonderful and strange in the world of Twin Peaks since she was 11 years old. She has written on the subject for 25 Years Later, the Blue Rose magazine, and contributed to Courtney Stallings' brilliant book, Laura's Ghost. She now runs her own Twin Peaks-related website, the Twin Peaks Oracle, and dabbles in the world of tarot. Laura is a practitioner of the oldest spiritual tradition in Tibet, Yongdrung Bon, which laid the path for Buddhism as we know it today. Laura has 4 Twin Peaks tattoos so far, but has plenty of room left for more. Here's the enchanting Laura Stewart. Tell us, how did Twin Peaks come into your life?
Wow, I was far too young to be watching Twin Peaks. I think I was 11. I must have been 11 years old when it first aired in Britain, in the UK. It was a Tuesday night, I'm pretty sure, on BBC Two. So there was no commercial breaks, which was great. And my mum used to go to a night class on a Tuesday night. And so my dad would have this sort of father-daughter bonding thing with me. He let me stay up a bit later than I should have done and watch Twin Peaks with him. I don't think he had any clue that it was going to be quite what it turned out to be. He probably would never have let me watch it. But then I was hooked by that point, mostly because of Bobby. 11-year-old girl, definitely a Bobby fan, wanted to be Shelley. And yeah, I loved it for all the teen reasons, I think. Yeah, and I loved it straight away. And my dad just loved the music. My dad loved Julie Cruz. And so he enjoyed it for that. I think he got a bit bored, certainly probably into season 2, as everyone seems to, but not me. And it just kind of went from there. I remember really young childhood memories of there's a magazine that used to be in the UK called Smash Hits, and it used to have it was like a pop culture magazine for kids, really, young teens. and it had loads of stickers and things, and had like Who Killed Laura Palmer stickers and all these different Twin Peaks stickers, and I had them all over my black and white TV. But I loved that. So I loved that sort of side of it from a young age, but then it just kind of went with me after that. I mean, my dad wasn't interested after a while, but it's something that I think just stuck in my mind as something that was so cool to me even as an 11-year-old. I can't remember being scared really of Bob. I think a lot of kids would be, but I must have been, but I don't have that as a memory particularly. It was more about Bobby and Shelley and all the young kids kind of thing. It took a while. I was much older before I watched Fire Walk with Me. I think because I couldn't see it in the cinema or anything, I was far too young. So, it was quite a while later before I saw Fire Walk with Me, and I think that brought a different kind of perspective to me. Where my best, I kind of written about this before in Courtney Stalling's book, Laura's Ghost, but my friend Claire, my best friend Claire, she had a very similar life to Laura Palmer. It turned out far later on that I found out a lot of things that had happened to her. She died, but not young, but about 6 or 7 years ago, I think she died. But yeah, she'd had a very similar sort of troubled past with her father, but I found out later on. So it was a strange sort of life becoming art becoming life thing for me that helped me process a lot actually as well what was going on with her, because she turned to drugs. She was quite heavily involved with heroin and things, and it was obviously a cry for help and a way of her sort of self-medicating and trying to rid herself of her own demons and things. I didn't realize what she was going through a lot of her life, but it all makes perfect sense now, and I think it's helped me quite a lot with coming to terms with her death and her intentional death, should I say. So it's always been a spiritual haven for me, I think, Twin Peaks in that way. So it's helped me a lot. It actually, weirdly, I've never been religious, but now I'm a Buddhist now, studying Tibetan Buddhism. So it's kind of brought me completely 360 in that obviously there was a lot of Tibetan Buddhism in Twin Peaks, and that brought it to me in my life, which has helped me a great deal as well. It's not like your typical religion, I don't think, Buddhism. It's more of a spiritual looking into yourself rather than worshipping anybody. So it's brought me a lot of peace, I think. So yeah, it's amazing what Twin Peaks, a little TV show, can do.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for sharing all of that, Laura, and thanks for sharing about your friend as well. And I think that Twin Peaks for a lot of us is so deeply spiritual and deeply personal, even if we haven't personally gone through the things that Laura went through. But we have, especially I think many women, I would say, have some experiences of sexual violence or know somebody who has experiences of sexual violence, and have had there's a lot of personal healing that happens through watching the show, engaging with the show in the different ways that we do in the community. And so that really resonates, with what you shared. And, you mentioned Laura's Ghost, which anyone who's listening, if you haven't, read Laura's Ghost, I don't know what you're doing. Definitely go get Laura's Ghost. It's one of the most incredible Twin Peaks texts I've ever read. The personal accounts are wonderful. The writing is incredible. It brings me to tears, but in really positive healing ways. It's a healing journey, this book. And you can get it on Fayetteville Mafia Press website, and you definitely should if you haven't. And that brings me to want to ask you if there's anything else that you want to share about what Twin Peaks is like for you now, versus when you first discovered it at age 11, which I can't even imagine what that was like for you.
I think, wow, it's been, I've learned, because it's opened so many doors for me. I never wrote anything at all before Twin Peaks came along, and it was never, it was kind of always a dream that I'd write a book or something, or just write, but I'd never put it into action or anything. But as the return was about to come out, I started becoming a moderator for the Twin Peaks Between Two Worlds Facebook group. And obviously I wrote a lot of theories and had my own ideas and things in there. And then 25 years later began. Andrew set up 25 years later, and Lindsay there at the time, she asked if I would want to write about the Buckhorn Dakota kind of side of things in season 3. So it was like, because the return was so crazy. No, not one person could write about the whole of the episode in one. He kind of had to split it up into different parts, because it would have been like 20,000 words per episode analysis kind of thing. It was just too much. So we split it into 3. And I worked on the Buckhorn aspect of the show. I mean, they all eventually tied up together, but still. And then so that was the first time I'd ever written anything. And then from there, I started writing my own things for 25 years later, which was a bit more sort of about my theories and things, and then became an editor there, which is what has brought me to my current editing job, which is fantastic. So I have a lot of love to give 25 years later and everyone there for, opening a lot of doors for me, creatively and in my, and financially as well, in the sense that it's my job now. So thank you very much, everyone there. I miss them all. They're a great bunch of people, so I'm glad it's doing so well.
And I'm looking behind you, Laura, and also seeing this blue rose on your wall, which is so amazing to look at. And I'm seeing this incredible Audrey doll. I don't know if you feel open to sharing about the doll, but I'd love to know about that too.
Audrey, these are actually from Sherilyn Fenn. She's only had a few made, I think. Originally, I think she got told off having them made, but I think she's had permission now from CBS. So these amazing little Audrey dolls. It says Audrey lives on the tag. I haven't taken it off.
Oh, that is
brush
just
her hair
so
a bit,
cute.
really, but I just love her little saddle shoes, and she looks so perfect, and they're all hand painted. And so there's, it's like my little pride and joy.
I love that. It's so cute. It's adorable. Her face is so cute. She's wearing a little plaid skirt and a red top, and it's got curly hair. And she's just beautiful. What a beautiful doll. I love it.
It is beautiful. I think I've seen that she's had a few more on sale again recently. So I think obviously she must be okay about doing that. But it was handmade exclusively for Sherilyn Fenn by Devout Dolls. She sent me a t-shirt with like a Twin Peaks High School t-shirt as well, with some painted cherries on as well. Bless Sherilyn. She's a sweetheart. Very fortunate. I've got lots of things in a box that are just stacking up. But I'm starting to sort of give them away. So I think, well, I'm not doing anything with these things. I gave my Twin Peaks board game, the craziest board game. I gave it to the guys at Talking Backwards podcast.
Oh, that's
nice. I thought they'll appreciate it more than me. They'll be able to play that crazily difficult board game, whereas I can't really.
I was just talking to someone else, and she said the same thing. She said it is impossible to figure out how to play. Like, it's just really unnecessarily complicated.
Exactly. And I thought, that'd be a brilliant podcast to listen to them trying to play that game. Is worth sending it across to the States just for that.
That's amazing. Well, let's talk about tattoos. What Twin Peaks tattoo or tattoos do you have, and can you kind of describe what it looks like?
Yeah, so I have 4, I think. 4, yeah. I do have 4. I have a blue rose on my right arm, and funnily enough, I was supposed to be having a lot more added to this today. Funnily enough, it was, but I cancelled it just because of money and various other things. But I was going to be having quite a lot more added to what is just one blue rose at the moment. I was going to have a lot more blue roses and a magpie with the owl cave ring in its beak, as if it had been stolen, because that's what magpies do, don't they? They just steal shiny things. So that was what I was going to have, and I hopefully will still have that at some point, just when things are a little less crazy in the world. I think when I can, because it meant going quite a long journey to have it done by this amazing artist called Danielle Merricks, but she's on Instagram as Painting Isn't Dead. She does beautiful watercolor tattoos, really bright. She's brilliant at birds and flowers, so I thought she's the girl. And it also, I noticed when I saw in her bio that she loves Twin Peaks, I thought, yeah, that's the girl I need to go to see. She is the girl. But yeah, I'll hopefully go back and see her at some point in the not too distant future, because I think she'll do something amazing. And then on my wrist I have the Owl Cave map that Agent Cooper drew on that napkin, which was absolutely nothing at all like the Owl Cave symbol, but yet somehow he came up with that.
Good call out. You're so right. Yeah.
Yeah, like how did you get there? But I mean, it's a very basic drawing, black line. But I love it because I think for me, it's like three state realms, so to speak. It's like a map, but for me it's the mapped sort of heaven, hell, and current existence, because you've got the two peaks and you're in the kind of the center of that, and then below it would be the hellish realms, or maybe the Black Lodge, or however you want to call it, and then further on might be the White Lodge or enlightenment, something like that. Because I'm a Buddhist, obviously, I try to get lots of Buddhist theory into my Twin Peaks. So it's kind of, yeah, it's a nice reminder of sort of keep going forward towards goodness, enlightenment, the White Lodge, kind of that spiritual feeling of, yeah, keep going. So, and I also have a on my left shoulder, and it's my biggest Twin Peaks tattoo. It says like a stained glass window effect. So that's the style. It's kind of little blocks, I suppose, of color. And it's the Twin Peaks, the two peaks, and an owl and a moon. And the owl is flying over what would be, I suppose, the sea, but the sea is, or the water, but it's chevron water. So it's got a few different elements of Twin Peaks without it being incredibly obviously Twin Peaks. I think you'd have to know. You'd have to know that it was Twin Peaks. The chevron floor was a Twin Peaks thing for anyone to really know. I designed that tattoo with a girl called Amy, who works in Swansea where I live, and she's at Park Street Tattoo. And I told her what kind of thing I wanted. I wanted it to be like a stained glass window, because of the sort of religious aspect to stained glass windows, kind of like being like a church window. And I think really because Twin Peaks has been like a religion to me, not in a sort of preachy way, but in that way that you kind of live through its teachings in a, it's that kind of way that Twin Peaks tells you a lot about life and the cycles of life and cause and effect, how the things that you do in your life will affect outcomes in your life. And I feel that's a really good way to live, is that as long as you're not harming anyone else, then everything should be okay. And I think you see that a lot in Twin Peaks, in everybody's story. And eventually, if you keep on working at being a good person, you generally get that reward. And I think probably Norma and Ed are the best example of them. Yeah. They were patient. They didn't give up on each other, but yet they had to sacrifice what they wanted, I think. But eventually they did get their reward of love. And there's lots of other feelings like that, I think, in Twin Peaks, is that life is hard. Life is really, really difficult for everyone. And everyone in the whole world ever will have loss, and there will be terrible things that happen in life. But it's how you kind of deal with that, and how you deal with your demons. You can end up being a sort of Sarah Palmer type of character, where you're just eaten up by bitterness and regret and guilt, and and that kind of turns you into a monster. There's, and I'm not blaming her in any way. That character of Sarah Palmer is like for me, is like the monster that she became is because of the pain and suffering that was caused to her, and she's absolutely a victim of that. But I also think, how you hold yourself with grit. Like Laura Palmer is a perfect example of her gracefulness in death, I think, and her sacrificing herself in. And I also feel like she saved Ronette in her last moments. That kind of like she wished for an angel for Ronette to be free. I feel like that's what happened in the train car. So Laura Palmer really is like a beacon of light, and again we see that in season 3 when she removes her face and there's just pure white light, and that to me is like, she is enlightened, because she has been purely good in the moments that it meant something, as well as it being incredibly difficult for her to live her life as it was. She still had that purity in her at the end, no matter what. Gosh, I can waffle.
Oh, I just love everything you just said. That's it. Yes, absolutely. And I love, and thanks for explaining the the piece and the kind of the literal sort of window in the storyline about goodness, and also what came up for me is around the kind of Buddhist concept of like life is suffering, and then what do you do with that suffering, and what do you make of it, and how do you also just kind of radically accept, this is what life is giving you, this is what life is. Life is inherently suffering. Yes. And so are you gonna make, I don't know, popcorn or garmin bozia? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly that. And I think a lot of life is, you're either the cause or the effect, I think. and you are both at different times. You're the cause of pain and suffering at some time, and sometimes you're affected by the pain and suffering that people have caused you. So, and it's how you deal with that. And if you can learn to forgive people for the bad things they've done for you, as hard as it may be, and if you can have compassion and tolerance for everyone, then you are going to be a much happier person in life, and you will sort of radiate that light to other people. If you can be kind no matter what the circumstances are, then yes, you will be a far better person for it, but everyone around you will be too. They'll be far more calm and peaceful around you if you're a calm and peaceful person, which I've learned in the last year is definitely works. So yeah, it's a good way to live.
Yes, kindness. And those are the messages of Twin Peaks. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
I think, I mean, obviously it's one of the hardest TV shows to watch, and it's crazy, and you can pull anything into Twin Peaks. You've got UFOs, you've got alien existence, you've got the Trinity bomb. There's so much to it. It's supernatural, and it's completely metaphorical, and it's completely psychological as well, and you can bring all of those things into it. And I most of the time I do see it sort of metaphorically, that Bob is the evil that men do, and there's obviously a thing with fathers and mothers and how they how you become what your parents make you, and but there's also I think especially with my Buddhist leanings, is that we all know we're all going to die. And that doesn't have to be a sad thing. It's actually a good thing. It's just we've been granted this rare human life, so make the most of it, just enjoy and be good to each other. But at the same time, it teaches you a lot about balance, I think, as well. You can't have darkness without light, and you can't have light without darkness. They have to be in balance, and the world wouldn't continue without one or the other. So kind of this is how we live. So yeah, if you can have peace of mind with that and carry on, then you're doing something right.
Yeah, impermanence, and just this like everything, this temporal nature of things, kindness, like love, light, acceptance. I just like, thank you. I love everything that's coming in.
No.
Did you have one more tattoo? Did you say 4?
Yes,
the last one?
Yes, I do have one more, and it was a very spur of the moment at the UK Twin Peaks Festival. They have a tattooist there, and so I thought,
Yeah, Lane.
Yes,
Yes,
that's right.
I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
able to
Brilliant.
actually interview her for this as
Oh,
well. So
fantastic.
yeah. So I'm glad that, did you get tattooed by her?
I did. Yeah,
That's
it was
amazing.
really sort of, oh yeah, and the, they're all kind of off the rack tattoos kind of because you're there for a day, so you can't say I want this elaborate piece. But, so it's the Laura Palmer Meanwhile hands. But again, it has kind of a Buddhist connotation to that because it's very much like the mudra. I wrote it down, I can't remember what it's called now. There's a mudra which is very much like this in Buddhism. In the hand form, and it means kind of protection, and I'll protect you from, don't be scared, basically. I'm protecting you. So which makes perfect sense to me in that Laura Palmer does that symbol towards Cooper at that point, because she says meanwhile, obviously, and does the hand gesture. And then her doppelganger comes out and screams and screams and screams, doesn't she, in his face? And so the fact that she's done that hand gesture just before her doppelganger comes out, for me, feels like Laura is protecting Cooper in that moment. Like, don't be frightened, I've got you covered, kind of thing. I don't know if he's going to be there for another 25 years, but but his soul won't be obliterated if he's not frightened. I think Laura protects him there in that. I think that she does more for him than perhaps he does for her, actually.
Wow. Meanwhile, as protection, I really am appreciating this interpretation and the links that you're making.
Yeah, it's not exactly the same. Let me find out what it's called, because I did write it down. There's a mudra. I did write it down. Okay, the Abhaya mudra, I think it is. So you can look that up. And it's very similar. I think the hand is more kind of like a stop sign than how Laura does it, but it's very, very similar. And I don't think it's the only mudra used either. I'm pretty sure in season 3, in the Monica Bellucci dream, she kind of sits with her hands in a pointed position, and that is also a mudra. And it's called the...
Laura, you're blowing my mind with this. Are you kidding me right now? Have you written about this? When can I read this?
Vaguely, I think in a little bit in something, but I probably do something bigger on it eventually. It's called the Matangi Mudra, and I get that means it's supposed to achieve inner peace and clarity and let you overcome obstacles on your path. This mudra is supposed to. So if Monica Bellucci is doing that for Gordon Cole, and then he sees Cooper, and then he remembers the Philadelphia moment with Jeffries, it all does kind of make sense.
It totally makes sense.
I love talking about Twin Peaks. I could deep dive forever. Unfortunately, you'll probably be on this podcast with me forever. The eternal podcast.
No, I love listening to this. It's wonderful. How did you decide where to put the tattoos, the placement?
Yeah, I think really it was just skin that was available. And at the time that I had them done, I was working in offices and things, couldn't really have them on display. So top of the arm was the sort of, I could always wear things to cover them up. So that was the initial placement. And now I don't need to, and I hope I never have to work anywhere other than from home again. So I'm quite happy to have a lot more on display tattoos. So I think they'll probably grow somewhat further down my arm and possibly across the chest, over the tops of my shoulders, I think a little bit as well, but not too much, just because that's not me.
And are you going to do more Twin Peaks tattoos, or you are going to do the one arm, but or also do you have others as well, other types of tattoos?
Yeah, my back is entirely covered in like autumn leaves in the wind. So I'll probably have a little bit more possibly added to that. It hurts so much. It was it was like 6 hours of sitting there having it done, and the back can be really painful in places, obviously, where you over bone and things. So yeah, it felt, you kind of have to G yourself up a lot for it, don't you? The arms and anywhere that's fleshy, particularly fleshy on me at the moment, it would be fine. But yeah, I think anywhere that goes over bone, I'm a bit more, oh God, about worried about the pain. Although I do think that has changed in years. I think it's got less painful. I don't know whether they've got new techniques and probably new needles and things. I'm not sure how it works, but I had my first tattoo when I was about 16 illegally on my shoulder of a little elf. And oh my God, that hurt. That hurt more than anything in the world. So I'm surprised I ever went back, really. And I had funnily enough, both of my tattoos on my arms, tops of my arms, are cover-ups of a Marilyn Manson tattoo, which is definitely not great now, and a Nine Inch Nails tattoo. So they've always been kind of Lynchian related, even from a young age. But yeah, kind of glad to get rid of them both and have something better in their place.
I was just thinking about what you were saying about the pain and how, yeah, I think for me that also resonates. It doesn't, maybe I'm more used to it now. The older I am, the more tattoos I've gotten, maybe the needles have changed, the world of tattooing has changed. I don't know anything about that world, but that seems possible. But I think when I get tattooed, it is quite a spiritual experience. It feels for me really meditative. It feels really transformative. It feels really healing. It feels like I am being asked to be extremely present in the moment and to really be able to like regulate my breathing and, have a connection with my artist given to that trust, like all of those things that happen. And I was just thinking that was coming up for me as you were talking about all of the different ink that you have and wondering, what it's like for you getting tattooed.
It is. Now. Again, it depends on the artist, but the woman who did this, my big sort of the stained glass tattoo, she was brilliant. I really connected with her. She did the art. She drew the art for me from my concept, and it didn't hurt at all. Well, it did, obviously it hurt, but I didn't feel it like I have felt the sort of that dragging pain that I've had with other tattoos towards the end. And I think perhaps it has been because you haven't connected properly with the tattoo artist, or there's been something that you just think they're not that fussed about doing a good job here, maybe. Where not with Rain was brilliant as well. I mean, again, it was a very different kind of, I just met it situation, but yeah, when with the stained glass tattoo, I think that was a very different. It took a long time, but it didn't feel like it at all. And it is one of those things that you kind of, you're going to go through pain, but if you can get through it, you've got this reward at the end. It's something to keep forever, and it's something, especially if you designed it yourself, or you came up with the concept yourself. It's completely unique to you, and I think that is, you have to be very careful about what you choose. You have to know that it's going to be something that you will want forever, and you can't always know that because you don't know what your future is going to be. But I had my wrist tattoo of the Owl Cave map and the stained glass tattoo just before season 3 came out, so I was just hoping and praying that they didn't ruin it. That they please don't make Twin Peaks so bad that I'm going to regret these tattoos forever. So thankfully it was okay.
Thankfully the return was a masterpiece, so it all worked out.
Yes, I thought, thank the Lord for that. It would have been terrible. Because like I said, with the Marilyn Manson and Nine Inch Nails tattoos, as much as I loved them at a time and place, it's kind of like, I wouldn't have a band tattoo now. Now that I'm 43 and like, this is very much a thing of the time. But I think now that I've known, by the time that season 3 was coming out, I thought, well, I've loved it now for 27 years. So I'm not exactly going to stop, I don't think. I think that's going to be with me for life. So it's worth the risk. So,
absolutely.
It is a journey, isn't it, through pain. And at the end, you're like, thank God. I've done it. I've done.
Although it's like oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, well, the sleeve that I would have been having done yesterday and today would have been 2 days worth of tattoo, and I don't know how I would have handled that. Because I was traveling quite far. I thought I have to have it done in one. Really, I thought I'm going to have to get through this pain. I don't know if I would have.
It's a lot back to back. When I do big pieces like that, I'm doing a piece, not a Twin Peaks tattoo. I'm doing some magnolias on my shoulder, and I'm going to somebody who's about a 5-hour drive, and I'm going for one sit with her, and then I'm going back in a couple of months for the second round of sit, just to space it out for my own wellness, because even though I consider getting tattooed part of taking care of myself, I do actually consider it self-care. If it's back to back like that for me, I know I'm not going to make it. It goes, it crosses over the line of self-care to become
that is what I was worried about. I was thinking, I probably shouldn't have done this. It's probably not a wise idea, because you're going to be sore, and then having more tattoos on top of soreness is probably not a good idea. So,
and I feel like my skin needs to rest too. Like it needs to like settle, receive the ink, like hang out for a minute, and then I can go back.
Yes, definitely. I think, I need to plan it better. I think I definitely get these spurs of, I really want a tattoo and I want it now. But then that's not always wise. Well, definitely not wise. I think it's really good to plan what they're going to look like. You really want all of the things that are in them. I mean, even since I designed this sleeve that hasn't happened yet, I've kind of already thought, well, actually, I want to add some peacock feathers and some other Buddhist symbology and things to it, because I thought it was probably more me than what the original idea was when I had it a year or so ago. So I think it does pay to wait, to really, really think on it and how your life is going. If you want to have something that's going to represent you forever, and something that you're going to love forever, you have to really think about it. Think about it clearly, because it's obviously a commitment for life, isn't it? As good as lasering is. I think the lasering must be worse than actually having the tattoo. So I wouldn't want that.
No, me either. And if anything, cover-ups, right? We just do a little cover-ups.
Yes, absolutely. You know it's under there. It's kind of a nice thing. It's like, well, it's a hidden layer. Nobody knows about now. There's you can keep adding and adding and covering up the things, and getting rid of the things that you no longer want without having to erase them, because you can't erase things in life, can you? But you can overdo them with better things. So that's another life mantra.
Look at all these life lessons. I love it, Laura. It's amazing. Okay, what, if any, annoying questions have people asked you about any of your tattoos? Have they?
Only one I can really remember was a guy in the gym, of all places. You can imagine the kind of guy in the gym. Sorry for being very judgmental about men in gyms, but the one on my wrist, the alcave symbol, the map symbol, somebody asked if it was a swastika, and I thought, well, no, it doesn't look anything like a swastika, but maybe from afar I could understand that. I was like, why would I have that? Although now, obviously, swastikas are quite a positive symbol. Before Nazism took them over, they were once the symbol of peace and love and the cycle of life, and especially in Buddhism and Hinduism and so on. So it's a shame that they've been perverted by the Nazis, because otherwise they're a very positive symbol. But no one can have a swastika tattoo now, unfortunately, as is the way. But that's the only thing I've ever been pointed out to before. So I hope it doesn't look like a swastika from afar. I don't think it does. I think it was just a guy in the gym trying to make stupid conversation.
Right, trying to start something up with you. Yeah. Well, and has anyone asked you questions that you've loved or been excited about around your tattoos?
Not in a specific way, but I think if somebody does notice that it's a specific Twin Peaks tattoo, you've got an immediate bond with that person straight away. You just know, well, I can talk to you about Twin Peaks, so we're going to be friends. Yes. Is that, it's like, you know stuff, you know stuff, I know stuff, and therefore we're going to be fine. it's kind of like a secret. It's like the Bookhouse Boys secret symbol. Diana, yeah,
Oh,
we
it
know,
is a
we know.
Bookhouse Boys secret symbol. Yes, it
Like we
is.
know, we're all part of that sort of secret club. It's not like that, but it is nice to find someone that clearly understands the reasoning behind a tattoo. And so it's only ever opened up conversation, which is always positive conversation generally. So that's good. It's always a good thing.
That's amazing. You talked about your sleeve that you have planned. Any other
Yeah.
Twin Peaks tattoo plans on the horizon?
Don't think so. I mean, I definitely need the owl cave ring somewhere at some point. I think it needs to be built in somewhere on a sleeve, I think, but I'll have to decide what and where, I think. There's so much symbology in Twin Peaks, isn't there? There's it's sort of endless. I've always wanted "Let's Rock" written somewhere as well in that lipstick font, but again, I know it's been done a lot, but at the same time, it's so obviously Twin Peaks that it's kind of good to have. there's so, I mean, there must be something from season 3 I'd like to have. Of course, the mother symbol and the scroll of paper that is found in the chair in Betty Briggs's chair from Major Briggs. All of the symbols on there look fantastic. I've seen that tattooed on other people and it looks brilliant. As well, that all of the imagery from that. There's so much potential, isn't there?
Okay, we could just keep going and going. I want to, right?
Yeah.
What character would you love to see have a tattoo in Twin Peaks?
I think about it. I mean, my favorite character of all, I think, in Twin Peaks is Hawk. So I just love him because he's a spiritual, brilliant man. And so I suppose I thought of him because he would perfectly suit Native American style tattoos. I mean, so he was the only person I could really think of would look great with a tattoo. Not that everybody'd look great with a tattoo in a sense, but he was the only one that I really thought would have some really meaningful tattoos that really suited him. So anything like his living map, that sort of art on him somewhere would be fantastic. Yeah, there must be. I'm trying to think who else would. There's probably some bad boys that would. Red probably had a tattoo or something. Although it doesn't have to be just bad people. I'm trying to. I'm making it sound like I'm living in the 1950s now, and only bad people have tattoos. I bet Sky Ferreira's character and a lot of the people in the Bang Bang Bar, whatever that was, if it was ever a real place, I feel like it wasn't. I feel, there's a lot more that's come from the final dossier about Ghostwood being a prison. Ghostwood development, Ben turned it into a prison and all this kind of thing. I feel like the Bang Bang Bar and people in there were just all a kind of dream. Then none of that was real. They were perhaps just all spirits that were trapped there, which is why Audrey ended up going there, and it was all a bit weird. So I don't know. I'll think about that theory a bit more. I
like that theory. Laura, I want to read that theory too. I want the Mudra theories. I want all those theories. I want to know them all. I love it.
There's loads I've got at the moment. I keep on thinking about the frequency of Gordon Cole's hearing aid, thinking there must be more to that as well. Oh, there definitely must be. He must be in touch with some other plane. I think he must be tuned in. Obviously he saw Laura Palmer, but on that vision that he had of Laura with Donna before she died, and you think, well, he never even met Laura Palmer, so how could he have that? So yeah, there's a lot to think about with Gordon. I think he's far more of a key to the whole thing than, of course he is, because he's David Lynch. Sorry.
Right. There's also that part.
Yeah. I love that he made himself such a main character in season 3. That always makes me laugh. And I want to talk about the Mauve Zone as well at some point, because it's such another Buddhist thing about the sea, this like the end of existence. There's a plane, like a bit like Bardo, but it's like there's like a sea of nothingness, and and I do think that could be when Cooper's thrown into non-existence, and he happens to be in this big purple sea. There must be more to that. But the Mauve Zone, I know that's been spoken about as well. I've forgotten the name of the author, but he was an assistant to Aleister Crowley, and he wrote a lot about the Mauve Zone. So there's a lot of different theories that can be pulled into that. I'll write or talk about it one day. Whenever I've got some energy.
Yeah, when you have spare time, which is hard. Yeah. But I want to hear about all of those things. Yeah, I want to hear all those things. When there's a season 4, what character might you like to play in season 4? Either real or mad, just something made up that hasn't a character that hasn't existed yet.
Yeah, I think it would be good to be a character that hasn't existed yet. I'd like to be some spirit, I think. some non-major character, something that lives in Ghostwood or something, some strange, either human or spirit human sort of, I always like being in the woods. That's I'm a very earthy Capricorn, typical Capricorn-y person. So some sort of white witch living in the woods, that sort of strange creature, maybe from the White Lodge or the Black Lodge. I think they kind of intertwine in most of the time anyway, both good and evil. So probably speaking in reverse, which I'd be terrible at, but yeah, that would be a fun character to play, a Lynchian strange creature with some tattoos, probably.
With some tattoos. That is a great answer, Laura. I have enjoyed so much what you have shared today and appreciate your perspectives. I love all of your theories. I love the spiritual components that you bring and that you share. And it's just absolutely joyful. How can people find you and connect with you?
I do have a Twin Peaks website, which has been horribly neglected lately, called Twin Peaks Oracle, which I do hope I'll be writing more for soon. So that is, twinpeaksoracle.com. And I'm on Instagram as that, and Twitter and Facebook. That's all Twin Peaks Oracle. So it's fairly easy to find, thankfully. And otherwise, I'm Laura Stewart, but I'm on Twitter as Disobedient Law, and I think it's the same on Instagram as well. So you can find me as Disobedient Law on Twitter and Instagram. And I have also done some Twin Peaks tarot readings, but again, I've kind of run out of steam after a short time. I got quite ill, so I had pneumonia, I was in hospital for a while. So after that, I kind of just took some time out to do nothing. So I hope I can get back to that eventually. And I might do a podcast or something as well in the future. So fingers crossed.
You definitely should.
I think it's easier to talk than write sometimes.
Absolutely.
Get it out on there straight.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Laura. It was just magical to talk to you. I really, really appreciate it.
Oh, it's absolutely my pleasure. It's been lovely to speak to you and to meet you properly as well.
Thanks for listening to the Twin Peaks Tattoo Podcast. Each episode is produced by me, Emily Marinelli. Sound design and theme music by Dr. Animal Proof Rock. For more information on today's episode, go to my website, www.twinpeakstattoopodcast.com.